Right then, Kemi Badenoch just absolutely demolished Keir Starmer over the Peter Mandelson scandal. And honestly, watching the Prime Minister squirm through yet another apology was almost painful. The Conservative leader stood up in Westminster and declared Britain is not being governed. And before you roll your eyes thinking it's just opposition theatrics, she might actually have a point this time. And what triggered this unprecedented parliamentary mauling? Well, while the rest of us are worrying about energy bills and whether we can afford heating this winter, Starmer's team spent last night frantically ringing round Labour MPs trying to save his job over the Mandelson mess. Think about that for a second. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, with NATO in flux and the cost of living still crushing ordinary families, is spending his evenings on damage control because he can't keep his own house in order. Hit subscribe if you want the daily dose of political chaos delivered with actual analysis, because this government's incompetence isn't slowing down. Let me fill you in on what's been happening. The Peter Mandelson scandal has been snowballing for weeks now, and Starmer's attempts to apologize his way out of it have been about as effective as a chocolate teapot. According to reports from Westminster, Downing Street has descended into full crisis mode, with the Prime Minister's team working overtime to prevent a backbench rebellion. Badenoch seized on this chaos like a terrier with a bone, pointing out that while Britain needs actual governance, we're getting an endless cycle of apologies and internal firefighting instead. But here's where the rubber meets the road. Badenoch's speech wasn't just your standard opposition attack. She laid out a damning list of what the government should be doing versus what they're actually doing. They were not thinking about the future of NATO, they were not up late talking about sorting out the cost of living, they were not planning how to reindustrialize Britain with cheaper energy, she said. It's like hiring a builder to fix your house and discovering he's spent the entire day arguing with his supplier instead of actually laying any bricks. And before we go any further, let's be real for a second. This is a government that won a massive majority barely 18 months ago, and they're already fighting for survival over internal scandals. The irony is absolutely delicious. Remember when Labour spent years banging on about Tory sleaze and incompetence? Now they're the ones desperately trying to contain yet another scandal while ordinary people watch their living standards collapse. Here's where it gets interesting. Badenoch didn't just attack, she presented an alternative vision of actual governance. Now here's the kicker. Her critique of Starmer's priorities cuts deeper than standard opposition noise because even Labour backbenchers are reportedly getting restless. When your own MPs need convincing not to knife you over a scandal, you've got a governance problem, not just a PR problem. So let's break down what this actually means for normal people. First, the immediate political impact is clear. Starmer's authority is crumbling faster than a biscuit in tea. A Prime Minister spending his evenings pleading with his own MPs isn't a Prime Minister who's driving a serious policy agenda. Second, the broader implications are even worse. While Westminster is consumed by this internal Labour drama, the actual business of government, tackling energy costs, stabilising the economy, navigating international relations, is being neglected. Third, the electoral consequences are building. Every day this government looks incompetent is another day the Conservatives rebuild their credibility by default. So here's the deal. Badenoch just exposed the fundamental weakness of this government. They're so busy fighting internal fires they've forgotten they're supposed to be running the country. Starmer's apology wasn't good enough because apologies don't govern nations. Keep an eye on this, because if Labour backbenchers keep getting those desperate phone calls, we might be looking at a leadership crisis sooner than anyone expected. Subscribe if you want tomorrow's inevitable drama delivered with the same energy, because this absolute shambles is far from over.